DMing, it can be hard. As a result, I think it's important that the system does as much as possible to make it easier. There's a lot of stuff to keep track of as a DM. Monster stats, what's going on in the plot, what do the characters see or not see, all of that kind of stuff. There's just a lot to keep track of. It's a big job. It is the biggest job at the table when you're playing D&D. And I just don't see a reason why it needs to be any more difficult than absolutely necessary. I was running my 4th edition campaign yesterday, and so the campaign that I'm running it's a comedy campaign. I call it my side quest campaign because I run it in the weeks between when I run my main campaign for that day, which is an L5R campaign. So when someone's not available or I just need time to prepare for the next leg, I'll run this campaign. It's a little comedy campaign. We don't really care about continuity that much. It's pretty silly. As a result, sometimes the number of people in the party changes from one week to the next. And sometimes I'm aware of this ahead of time. Sometimes I'm not. Usually not. So yesterday, I show up and I'm thinking we're going to have 4 or 5 people. We ended up having 3. And I looked at my encounter and I was like, yeah, that's probably fine. I just looked at the XP value, which is how the difficulty budgeting in 4th edition works. I looked at the XP value, and I looked at what a standard encounter for them would be, and I realized that this just went from like a normal encounter to pretty hard. But I was like, I trust the math. I didn't have to like re-look at what resources the party had available, because they lost their healer, as one of the players who didn't show up was the healer. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. The system is pretty robust. And I had faith in it. And that faith paid off because we did indeed have a big climactic boss battle that was quite difficult. But the party survived. They came freaking close. None of them actually dropped. None of them went to 0, but multiple healing potions were consumed. One of the players went down to, I think he had 1 hit point left. He didn't actually show me, but based on the way he was talking to other players, I think he had 1 hit point left. And it was fine because I was allowed to go all out. Because I don't pull punches. I don't put on the kid gloves. I will try to design an encounter that is fair and balanced. But when I run the monsters, they are trying to win. So this battle happens, and it's really hard. It's down to the wire, but the player characters triumph, and they come out on top, and they defeat the bad guys. Cool. I was able to do that because 4th edition's tools for running games are really good. They're very reliable. And, that's largely what it comes down to. I didn't have to worry about, okay, if they're missing the healer, then that cuts it does. It does. If you're missing key roles that you usually rely on, it does cut your effectiveness by more than just the portion of the party that is missing. A party of 4 with a healer goes down to a party of 3 without a healer is less than 3/4 as strong as a general thing. That is still true. But the math for building encounters is solid, and it still the player characters in 4th edition are self-sufficient enough to be able to come out ahead and rely on their own tools and abilities. In a 5th edition campaign, this would have gone very differently. I would have had to re-examine the encounter, take out enemies that are problematic without specific types of player characters. I would have to know who is missing, what they are able to do, and adjust the encounter dynamically in order to do that. And it's just a lot more work. And I don't think it needs to be, is what I'm really getting at. There's a problem in 5th edition where there aren't enough DMs. I may have spoken about this already in a previous video, but Wizards of the Coast has mentioned that there aren't enough DMs to go around. And a big part of that, I would like to posit, and a big part of that is because it's hard to DM 5th edition. It's a lot more just mental load than it needs to be. And it's more mental load than D&D used to be. I don't run 5th edition games anymore. I never ran a campaign. I did try like when 5th edition first came out, I tried. And I don't anymore. After that, I ran a couple of one-shots for like special occasions. I will never be running 5th edition again because I've gotten spoiled on other systems. Not just 4th edition, though 4th edition is very easy to run. In my heyday, I could do all the math on the fly in my head. Now I'm rusty. I'm trying to get back into it. I still need to like calculate it out ahead of time. I could just like come up with monsters with stats on the fly in the middle of a game, and it was fine because the math is so easy. But I also run a lot of like very low prep or zero prep games, Blades in the Dark, Monster of the Week, or various other Powered by the Apocalypse games. These things require very little or no prep time at all. But that's an entirely different genre. You want a crunchy game like D&D, you're going to have some prep work. I do a lot of prep work for L5R. I put more work into L5R than I put into my 4th edition campaign, obviously, because it's like the main one, right? But that is because it is a crunchy system with like that I'm just putting a lot of effort into. And a lot of that isn't like making sure encounters are balanced, because that's not really the way that L5R rolls. It's just a matter of investment of time and energy and creative juices into the campaign. I could get away with very little prep in L5R, actually. Like minimum prep time for a satisfactory gaming experience, probably lower in L5R than it is for 5th edition. Higher than 4th, I would say. The point is, 5th edition is way harder to wield as a DM than it needs to be. And I think a lot of people who get the DM burnout would be well served to just go play other games where the burnout isn't a thing. Like, obviously, you can run out of creative energy, but it is a lot harder to run out of creative energy when all you're doing is being creative. You don't have to do all the heavy load work of making sure that the math works. There's a lot of games where it just is so brain dead easy to make the math work, so you can spend more of your energy as a DM doing the fun bits, the creative stuff, the stuff that really makes the campaign meaningful for the players. As a result, it is my opinion that 5th edition actually is a bad game to run on account of it takes too much mental load from the DM. And so the DM is less free to do the things that make the campaign good, because it's not the stats that make the campaign good. I guess it is for some people if like you're really into the crunchy part of like, you know, the tactical battle. But if you're into tactical battles, 5th edition's not your game anyways. The best parts are the character moments, the storytelling, the cinematic experience of it all. And that's a lot easier to get to, and a lot easier to arrange, and a lot easier to present to the players when you're not also having to worry about how challenge rating works with different sized parties and different numbers of enemies. And it's when you're not having to worry about complicated math. Simple math works. It can work. It has worked. And if you would like to try better systems, it can work again for you.